Okay. So today we will see how to generate the check, or how can you consume the check so that you can print the check and then you can send that check to the vendor, or you can give that check to the vendor. So to generate check, system have a proper setup which needed. For example, we need a check numbers to be created. We need the check layout to be created. So we have already covered that part, how to design the layout and how to create the checks. So now in our system we have 99 checks available. 100 we have created and we deleted one. Now if we are doing the payment transaction, we go to the accounts payable module, and I hope there are some vendors. So I am just creating some direct payments. Go to the vendor payment and say new. Just say vendor payment. So maybe vendor payment for invoice number something. Go to the lines. Then you select the bank for which, or select the vendor first. This is the vendor, and then you can say okay, payment for invoice number, the amount and all. Now before we go to the amount and all, what we can do, we should have some invoices where we are paying, either you are pay advance or you pay against invoices, correct? So what I can do, I will just try to create this and then go to the bank, select the bank. I just created this bank, let's see, and then go to the generate payment button. Okay, let's click here. Now here method of payment, you can see check. You are not yet selected, so let's create one method of payment. That should be check. In India we call QUE, and here you get invoice, or you can say total. And important is here, it's none is here, and then you can say check here, and you can say sent here. Okay, payment status sent and check. And rest of the setup right now we don't do, but we need this setup here, and then you have to select that one format. I will select configurable layout, save this, close this, and now my check here, configure layout, but it's not electronic payment. Just make that bank account type is mandatory and offset account must be bank. Bank transaction type is mandatory. Offset account must be bank. These two are mandatory. Just put that right now. And then save this and close this. Come back here, select check, select the bank account here. This is our bank, and then say OK.
There was a message earlier on that says generates payments. That means something got generated, right? And you
I
want to
think so.
change.
I think so. So if it is already
Yeah,
generated, then check number should appear.
yeah. So you can edit the payment after
This
you've
number
generated
should
it.
so when you create this, it should appear this check number. So let me see some mandatory fields like which we said bank transaction type. So bank transaction type is here in the bank. You select the bank transaction type. We have not created any transaction type. Let's add one more transaction type. Let me payment. But that is not related to the main account. So if it is interest and all that, we need to update here bank transaction type. What other things which we made mandatory? Select this.
Are you saying the system would generate a check number?
Yeah, it should generate a check number and it should appear here. Now it is not consuming that check number. It should be
We deleted one check number, right?
yeah. So it should take second number.
Okay.
There is some format where something which we are missing. So maybe status is thing that is fine. Let's see invoice and then send status should be sent after this. Let's put it none here. But that sent is correct actually. So format check type is check. Let's put it other and save this and export format is here. Okay, let's try to no, that's correct. Let's try one thing here. Check is important, so let's put check. Sent is fine, that's correct. Let's go to the export format. Export format is check configurable. So it is exporting to this format only. Next. So we have created checks for these banks, right? Vendor payment, lines. Something is not working. Let's try this into the another environment, and then we will see that uh, what are the setups, missing setups for that. So I will just show this in USMF first. Okay. If you see here, as soon as I click OK, it should display the bank account name and the next check number. Okay. So if it is only one check, it will be 792 number, and then say OK. Summary account of vendor account. This is not exit. Okay. So this is because in USMF, this vendor, we have changed the default posting profile. So maybe in your posting profile, timing, we can change that posting profile, which is the default one. Just search the posting profile. Yeah. So this is the posting profile which we created and which is not the one is default. So I just selected this now. Close this. Go to the lines list, and we already consumed, we created. No, the checks is not yet created. When it created, it will appear here. So let's generate again. Click on this, check the bank account, say OK. It should display the same number because it is not yet consumed. The number of blank checks, maybe whatever, start with one. Click this. Unable to find printer with path. Okay, so that check layout issue. But does the check number is created? Yes, the check number is consumed now. So this check is printed and understood that it's printed on the printer, and check is now printed on the stationery. Now that check you can give it to the vendor we courier it to the vendor, and in our system this 792 has recorded, so that you can see into the bank account now. If you go to this bank, so go to this bank, I will just go inside this journal again and directly click on that bank here. This is my bank. So this is the bank, right? So USMF operator. So let's move here and try to click on this bank account, and this is my bank account. And now I want to see the status of my all checks. So let's see the manage payments and then click on the checks. Okay, that's what I was want to show you. So now you see here, this is complete list of checks which is been used and paid to various vendors. So this is our check which we have just paid 792, and this is the recipient, and then the address and the currency and the amount. So all the details about your check is available here now. You understand?
Yeah.
So this is what I want to show you, that when you do the payment with check, you will have the details of each check. And sometimes, for example, something is bounced back, some rejected, so you can work on that here. Or maybe you mistaken, your printer doesn't work and it is you want to reuse that check. You understand? Sometimes the printer won't work out, but system created that check. So you can delete, you can void. So now to void this activity, for example, you want to reuse this 792, which is not printed properly. You want to regenerate that same check. In that case, this is called void. Okay. So to void that activity, you need to void that transaction from the transaction level. So now this is the transaction which is in the status of sent. So I'm just covering how to void the check. Okay. So to void, what you have to do, you have to first change the status. So here you go to the payment status. You have to say first rejected. Click on rejected. So what you say, do you want to void check this? Yes. So we have to void this. So now what happened? This is the status of this check is rejected. Now you want to regenerate. So before regenerate, you have to again make it none. Status should be none again. And then you can go to the generate payment again. So it will use the next number now. Take the check and everything is fine. Click on OK. See, 792 is void. Now 793 comes. You say OK. So check is generated for 793. If you go to your, let me duplicate this, and then we see the bank, what it shows. Go to the bank. Bank accounts. Yami, you still there?
Yep.
Good. So go to this bank and just say to the checks. Now you see that 792 is voided and this is paid. Okay. Okay. So I hope you understand how to create transaction in multi-currency, how to generate the check, and we will also see how to void the check and then reuse or recreate the same journal again to print the another check. Okay.
Yep.
So that's what related to the bank and cash management for this. And Would you like to continue with the account receivable or any other setup? Because in the bank accounts now I can see there are statement we have to cover reconciliation and at least this part we have to cover, and then some inquiries, and then we have to see the bank transactions, then checks. Here also you can see the checks. These are some reports here. So in this report you can see this. Then you can go inside and check the transaction. You can see the voucher. Okay, you can click on the payment journal. So there are reports. In inquiries and reports you can select bank control, bank account balance report, where you will see lot details of your bank and respect to bank account balances. Sometimes some setups is won't work in your new legal entity. Just go to the USMF, try to do the transaction there. First understand the steps, but don't stuck up there. We will try to resolve that, but it doesn't mean that you should stop. You should go to USMF, do it, complete that transaction, and practice it. Okay. Now your balance is over here. All these banks are there, and respect to balance you can see here. These are small reports are there. So you explore those reports. There are multiple reports you will find here. Transaction, checks, statistics, check statistics sometime. So all these things required for management or for status of that various checks and bank related stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Now
Mhm.
next session we will cover the bank reconciliation. But for bank reconciliation, I need at least 10 transaction, maybe vendor payment or vendor receipts, some cash deposits, some withdrawals. So what I suggest you guys to put at least 5 or 10 transactions for vendor payments and cash deposit and cash withdrawal. Okay. Till now we have not covered receivable part, where we will receive the check into our bank, but by journal you can deposit the check, the cash into the bank. So here is some statistics for this today's date, maybe 11291.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I asked the last time with Dynamics 365. Is it not possible to sync the bank transactions from the bank portal to D365?
I am still confused what exactly you are looking for. So when you say bank transactions from bank portal, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let me show, if you don't mind, can I show you something?
Please go ahead. Let me stop the recording and then we will have it.
1 second. Let me try and